Hello again and welcome to another web game review. Today's review is with Endless Night on Newgrounds. The title card makes it seem a lot more awesome than it actually is. It's not that awesome. It looks awesome, but it really isn't. We have an in-placed shooter where you just stand in place on top of your house and shoot. This is I've got level 10, I think. You probably just saw as well. And the gameplay is alright. It's standard for an in-place shooter. It's you stand in your place and you shoot the enemies. And that's really it. Right, finally. Yes, but then here we have the upgrades. Yeah, upgrades are fairly standard. You have your special abilities, which is when you press 1, 2, or 3 on the keyboard, you get all these different abilities. Usually just wipes out everything on the screen in varying abilities. This increases your house health. Surprising, actually, how difficult is saying that. It puts on 50 HP, I think, to your house, something like that. And these barricades do something. The problem is with these barricades that there isn't a health bar, so you can't tell what it's doing. I'm assuming it increases the health of them, but I can't tell, and it really makes no difference, really. They get through them quite easily anyway. Then you've got the damage and rate of fire and everything upgrades, but the guns, just whole upgrades. One thing that I have noticed with this is the problem with swarming, where you just get swarmed onto your location, and unless you have the ability to kill them quick enough, you're guaranteed to fail. Which makes the gun upgrades mandatory, but everything else supplementary. That may seem alright, but unless you're in this situation like me, you can end up in a situation like me, where you end up with a level like this, and an example of the superpowers is that you can kills everything on screen. But yeah, unless you have the upgrades to do enough damage to the people, you're guaranteed to fail. Yes, I have grenades, but I only have 5, and I have no idea how much long this stuff is going to take. So you have to... Well, basically, you're going to fail a few levels. It's like, now I can buy the upgrade to the gun, which is... It's... grind is the main thing. It's like the level before this, I managed to finish the level at precisely the time when I got 0 health. I managed to get through exactly to the point at 0 health. So... yeah, it just means that these upgrades that the gun upgrades are essentially mandatory, but they get exponentially more expensive. I'm guessing by the time you get to the 3rd line, you would have to have this, the final gun. But it's 500,000. Even the one before that is 25,000. I had trouble getting the 5,000 for this gun upgrade. So... I think if you're going to play this, my best advice is to spend money on the guns and only buy the guns. Simply because if you do anything else, you will probably end up getting to a point where you will either fail the mission simply because you do not have the firepower, or you just won't be able to finish it and you will have to grind past levels just to get enough money to get the gun upgrade to actually progress. I think that is probably my biggest criticism, is simply the gun upgrades feel mandatory, but they're priced in such a way that they can't be. You can't just get them periodically, which is irritating. It's not necessarily a game breaker, but it does make the game frustrating for the wrong reason. The game is cartoonish and fun and all that sort of stuff, and the mechanics work perfectly fine. They're fairly standard, as in-play shooters go, but for this, you just repricing the guns would be nice, or adjusting the swarm ratios so you don't just get swarmed to such a degree where you're guaranteed to fail if you just can't kill them quick enough. Because these superpowers have a cooldown, and that cooldown is actually rather long. I found myself, and also as connected to the barricades not having a health bar, the specials do not have a cooldown counter. So I found myself at a few points just pressing the key over and over and over and over again just to try and get it to fire, because I have no idea when it is going to fire. As criticisms, barricades not having a life bar is slightly irritating, and the same with specials not having a cooldown meter, it's slightly irritating. But the biggest thing that makes the game quite frustrating is the fact that the gun upgrades are essentially mandatory, but they're priced exponentially, so you can't get them periodically. Apart from that, the game is fine. The game is perfectly fine. It plays really well. See, look now, no problem. I don't even have to use the superpower. I don't. The difference, just that one gun upgrade does. You either spam, you either have to use the special superpower and die still, or get a gun upgrade and not. Yeah. So some indication how long the levels are as well, because if I previously knew that the level was that long, I would have used the grenades. This. So there is just a few problems. Just add a few more meters, like cooldown meters, and the other health meter for the barriers, and wave meters and things. Just more indications of what things are and how long things are, rather than not. Otherwise, pretty good.